talking Thomas Tuchel, England's new manager, the third foreign appointment from England. This is what we are getting. Pep Guardiola, Allegri, and then Thomas Tuchel in terms of win ratios since Tuchel started at Borussia Dortmund. Is there any doubt, Aaron, that England are getting a top-class operator?
No, there's not. Obviously, them stats, back that up. I think he's proven in different countries, and yeah, I think they've got a great manager there who can, get the best out of the players that they've got. They've got so many players to choose from. I think he's played a lot of different formations and things like that. So maybe he might, tweak a few things from game to game. But they've got so many good players to choose from that I'm sure you'll get the best out of them. Before
we come to the tactical arrangement, Jamie, I just want to ask Aaron, as someone who's played 86 times for his country under various managers, what do you think is the key to being a successful international manager?
Yeah, I think obviously you've got a short amount of time to try and get your ideas across to the team and for them to buy into that. So the messages that he gives to the players, that's the most important thing. And it might not always be on the grass. It might be in the meetings and things like that. Them little bits of detail so important because it's a quick turnaround.
I think what's really interesting looking at this, the best managers for me in the world are in the club game and they're in Champions League football because they love the day-to-day. It's probably where the biggest wages are as well. But that shows you that England have got the best manager in the world in terms of when you look at international football. I can't think of anyone, I forgot maybe off the top of my head, but Thomas Tuchel, because of the company that he's in. What's really interesting, if we're saying these are maybe the best 10 managers over the last sort of decade or so in European football, there's only 4 of them have won the Champions League out of the 10. Because it's knockout football. And that's what international football is. So it shows you these are the best managers in the world. So there's only Pep Guardiola, Champions League winner, Thomas Tuchel, Jurgen Klopp and Carlo Ancelotti. All the rest, I don't think, have won the Champions League. And these are the best managers in Europe over the last 10 years. That shows no matter how good your manager is in international football, knockout football is still a huge element of luck back to his days.
Let's see if we can put him in a tactical box then in terms of the formations he likes to use. Yeah, not really. So 3-4-2-1 then, as Jamie's just been talking about at Chelsea. 4-3-3 at PSG. And in Germany, mostly the 4-2-3-1, which he did a lot with Bayern. What conclusions can we draw from the fact that he's used so many different formations?
I think that's a strength in terms of the England job. It shows that he's really flexible. And I think at international level, sometimes at club level, you get a manager come in and say, this is my system, this is how I want to play, and I'm going to recruit players to play my system. You can't do that at international level. You've got to go with what you've got. And I think that shows that he's, as I just said, very flexible. He's very competent, very good at different formations, given the instructions that you need. And that's what he will need to do. And it'll be really interesting. That'll be the first thing he'll be thinking of. With the group of players I've got, how am I going to set this team up to get the best, more often than not, how to the best players?
Would you see that as a strength, Aaron, that flexibility tactically?
Yeah, I think so. I think also because you need to use your squads these days, I think, they're quick turnarounds. The games are very demanding, and I'm sure the way that you want to play as well. So that rotation and things, that bit of freshness, every 2 or 3 days is going to be important. So you might need a tweak, from a tactical point of view.
So we thought we'd give you a little challenge, Jamie. He's not starting till January the 1st, and his first games are going to be in March. So you're going to sort of pick Tuchel's team for him, give him some suggestions, or what you think might be the key areas.
Well, I've taken this really serious, Dave, and that's why the glasses are coming out.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, so the glasses are on. So, I mean, I'm thinking about how you would set up, and the first thing I want to speak about is Gareth Southgate's mainstays of his team. I'd class as sort of Harry Maguire, John Stones, maybe Declan Rice, Harry Kane. And for me, in the summer, it was Harry Kane's team. He'd been there, he'd scored the goals, and we were getting an abundance of younger attacking players between the lines. Now, for me, this is not Harry Kane's team anymore. Even though him and Thomas Tuchel have got a relationship, the most important thing for Thomas Tuchel is get the most out of the young attacking players he's got who are going to play between the lines. The team has to be for them. So the team I think I certainly would pick when he comes in, you know, fitness permitted. I would look at this situation where you got Trent Alexander-Arnold at right back, John Stones. I think Branthwaite, excellent on the left foot as well, gives you that balance, but also gives you that size and presence that, you know, England had with Harry Maguire. You think how important set pieces were for England in tournaments. Colwill again, I think obviously we'd see him at left centre-back. At times he's done left-back under Lee Carsley as well. And Rice, Jude Bellingham here, a little bit deeper. Saka has to play on the right wing. He has to. Cole Palmer, for me, has to play there. Not necessarily because he's been amazing for England. Hasn't had too many choices. But when someone's playing that well in club football, they have to play. And right now, I'd play Gordon there because if Kane, for me, is still England's best centre-forward, you still need pace around him. Now, they want to miss out.
Phil Foden's devastated.
Yeah, but
Just
you know how much I
out.
love Phil Foden. But Phil Foden still hasn't done enough in an England shirt. And you get into the stage now where he's probably playing... He's probably played 40, 50 games for England. He's still... Palmer really hasn't had his chance yet. Neither has Anthony Gordon. Certainly the chances that...
And Jude Bellingham's thinking he really enjoys playing number 10.
Well, I agree. But what I would say with that is, this is the big question mark with this team. This is defensively, by the way. Is Jude Bellingham good enough to play as a central midfield player in a 2 and defend with Declan Rice? Now, the reason I've got Jude Bellingham there is because I think when you've got the ball, as we see with most teams now, you morph that into a different formation. So, Declan Rice moves. So, what we've got is we've got Cole Palmer comes into that right side 10, Jude Bellingham into the left side 10. You've got your front three with Saka, Gordon and Kane. And we know Rice would just step over. Trent Alexander-Arnold comes in. Stones comes across, Branthwaite, and that's why I'd probably play Colwill, as we see a lot of teams now almost playing a centre-back, a full-back, because in possession, you can step in with the left foot, but it gives you that balance of a back three. You've got Trent in the middle of the pitch, his passing ability in there, and then when you've got the ball, you've actually got Jude Bellingham where you want him when you've got the ball, so he can still attack the box, make runs in behind Harry Kane, and I think Palmer, for me, has just got to play. So that would be the sort of setup I would like to see England go with the players that they've got. And yeah, what are your thoughts, Aaron, on that?
As a budding coach, put Carragher on the spot. Come on.
Yeah, I think...
Anyone have missed, do you think?
no, I think Foden.
Would you play Foden? And where?
I think at the moment you have to play Palmer. I think the form that he's in for the last...
Is it one or the other?
I think so, yeah, because you want pace from Gordon and Saka plays on the right.
Yeah.
So for me, it'd be one of them two at the moment. But yeah, I think Bellingham can do that because he's got a good enough engine to get back in as well defensively. And, you know, in the attacking phase, he can get into them pockets and get beyond Kane as well and get into the box. So
when I go to the summer and I said it was Harry Kane's team, and people were talking about Harry Kane's coming deep for the ball, I couldn't believe people saying that. He's been doing that for the last 5 years. He's coming deep for the ball. But you have to then build around that. That's why I was frustrated that Anthony Gordon didn't play a lot more in the summer, because Phil Foden was coming inside and clogging this area up. They needed pace around Harry Kane. The fact it's now not Harry Kane's team, in my eyes, it's a new manager. Harry Kane's a little bit older. The next tournament's in 18 months, 2 years. This thing of Harry Kane coming deep and maybe getting in the way of a Bellingham or a Palmer, it's a bit like, no, we're playing these in their best position. You've got to adapt to them. So for me, it's either... For Harry Kane, as people were saying in the summer, maybe rightly so, but you've just got to either stay right up front or you've got to actually pick someone who's got pace to run in behind. You can't have someone else coming into these pockets now, especially if you're going to set up this way. And you think of Chelsea, that we highlighted earlier in the show with the sort of box midfield, but you've got Jackson at the top end of the pitch. In the first half, he makes a run in here, gets a shot away. He gets his goal because he's running in behind. So England will, when you get to America, will someone have taken Harry Kane's place by that time? You know, I think it'd be right on the edge. It'd be really debatable then. So
apparently, the FA spoke to approximately 10 people. Were you one of them, Jamie? No one's actually admitting to it.
I'm not getting involved. I'm not getting involved.
No one's actually admitting to it.
I haven't denied it. Listen, I don't know where that came from. You mean, if you're interviewing 10 people and Graham Potter says he hasn't been interviewed, and Eddie Howe say they haven't been interviewed, something is not right. I'd rather the FA come out and just own the decision and just say, we decided to go with the best, what we felt was the best man for the job. It doesn't matter nationality. We're going. Don't try and kid us that you spoke to an Englishman here or fudge the situation. Just own your decision. They've gone with Thomas Tuchel, and you know what it reminds me of? Almost a decision that you'd make at club level, where you've got a team who are so close to, let's say, winning a Premier League title or a Champions League, and you go, you know what? We're just going to go for an absolute winner. You've seen teams do it before. Maybe teams who think, oh, we need Jose. Or we need, you know, that type of manager you think will get you over the line. It doesn't always happen, but it almost feels like a club appointment that we see rather than an international appointment.
Those are the views of Coach Carragher.
And not Sky Sports.
And he's still not denied it, has he? Yeah.